right, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the ENT Committee. Everybody get it this year? I know there was some confusion last year. All right. It's great to be with you all. On behalf of Vice Chair Boyce and myself, welcome back. Obviously, we had a very busy interim. We had a couple of official site visits. We had a few official briefings, and I know many of you have been hard at work and bills and oversight activities and have been all around the state doing the work even outside of the 90 days. I did just want to start off by acknowledging the passing of Jimmy Malone. He was the longtime vice chair of this committee. A few of you even served with him on this committee, and so I just want to take a moment to recognize his contributions over the years. I know he was a friend to many of you. I knew him best through my prior chair, Maggie McIntosh, who they were chair and vice chair together. So. Speaker Pro Tem Stein, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about, I know you did a great job on the floor yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
I think they'll get you. Don't touch the button.
Okay. Some rules I have to learn again every year, but yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Jimmy Malone was vice chair of environmental matters for 12 years and chair of motor vehicle and transportation, and involved in, especially motor vehicles and transportation, so many things. When my teenage kids say, why do we have to wait so long to get our driver's licenses? I said, well, you know, when we were, Jimmy Malone was chair, we worked on that, and no, and most of all, he was a great guy, and so he'll be missed. And if you're a college football fan, tune into Notre Dame's game tonight, because he was a big Notre Dame fan, and root for the Irish. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. We'll obviously be thinking of Vice Chair Malone during the work ahead the next 89 days, and we have plenty of it. We have the second most amount of pre-filed bills in the House after the Judiciary Committee, and we have a lot to deal with. Vision Zero for traffic safety, housing affordability, our environmental goals in this new context we find ourselves in with a changed federal government. We're going to have some issues related to ethics and a new conflict of interest and non-participation bill, and then the hundreds of other bills that I know many of you will be providing us to work on. So let me turn to our awesome committee staff. Of course, making sure that everything turns on in the morning and turns off at night is the assistant to the chair, Trish Geggan. This is her 11th session with us in this committee, and her 18th in the General Assembly. Joining us for the first time this year, our committee secretary is Mana Mustafi. Give a wave. Our committee clerk is Rose Love. She's in her 6th session with the Environment and Transportation Committee. Is she in here?
She's running.
She's running late, okay. And it says in my notes this is her umpteenth session in the General Assembly. We have another committee clerk and intern, Angelina Mussini, who is a graduate of University of Maryland College Park, or will be soon, I should say, with a focus on environmental science and policy, so she's in the right place. At our front desk is Austin Cox. It's his first session with us. You can clap for Austin. And of course, we now have our full veteran crew of committee counsel. Of course, Kristen Flynn in her 20th session with the committee. Maybe she skipped out on this session, I don't know.
Working hard.
Oh, right, school, no snow day. Patrick Tracy for his 22nd year with the committee. And the new guy like me, Ben Voigt, with just his 2nd session with the committee. We are once again being protected by our state trooper, Matt Mitchell. And he's back there. I guess he's worried about all that staff back there. I don't know. And my staff with his 2nd session in the General Assembly, but first with me is Connor Curran. And my 2 interns are Travis and Linnell. Linnell is here today. And I don't know what we did wrong last session, but instead of 1 designee from the Speaker's staff, we have 3 designees from the Speaker's staff hanging out with us. So I don't know what kind of trouble you all got me in, but we have Patrick, Michelle, and Jeannie all supporting different aspects of our work. So welcome to them, and let me turn it over to the Vice Chair to introduce her staff.
There you go. And, well, good morning and welcome back. I have the honor to have a new staff this session. Where's Meredith Riley in the back? She comes from Baltimore City from a local councilman's office, so she has hit the ground running. And my only intern for this session, Miranda Parrish, right behind it. So I've got a powerful all-woman team. Here we go.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We have a little bit of a change in our committee leadership this year, as you all know. My seatmate, Sarah Love, got demoted to the Senate. And so Delegate Stewart is stepping in as chair of the Transportation Subcommittee. And making her triumphant return to ENT as the new chair of Land Use and Ethics, Delegate Robin Lewis. Chair Robin Lewis. And of course, Vice Chair Boyce will continue to chair Natural Resources, Agriculture, and Open Space. Our Speaker Pro Tem will continue to chair Environment. Of course, you can't have a Housing and Real Property Subcommittee without Chair Marvin Holmes.
That's right.
And is this a good time to talk about ground rents, or are we going to hold off? All right. And of course, Chair Healy will continue to chair local government and bi-county agencies. She's with her husband today, but will be rejoining us next week. So thank you to the great committee leadership for the hard work over the interim and the work ahead. As usual, we're going to start with some briefings before we transition into hearings towards the end of the month. Our hearings will continue to be hybrid hearings. I would just encourage your staff to check the schedule daily. Obviously, listen to me on the House floor for the most sort of up-to-date timing on everything, especially as things get later and more busy. We'll sort of start publicizing information about our early session briefings soon. Our hearings are in person with a virtual option for witnesses. That's not a virtual option for the members. That's a virtual option for the witnesses. We have a new AV system, as you can probably tell from the equipment on your desk. Just get used to the new cameras and microphones. So just something to be aware of. When you are speaking, you're like on the House floor, your name and district will start to appear, and your county will appear in front of you instead of just relying on the nameplate. So just keep that in mind. Witness sign-up will still be 2 business days before the hearing date. Remember, that's business days, so just keep that in mind when you're telling witnesses that means if we have a Tuesday hearing, that means on the week before they need to sign up to testify. All the guidelines will be on the webpage, and of course, Trish is always, I'll say, happy to answer questions or willing to answer questions. Once again, we will not time bill sponsors, but please sponsor responsibly when you are presenting your testimony, and tell your colleagues not on the committee. And then if the sponsor has a video or a presentation, we review those on an ad hoc basis to determine if it's kind of appropriate. If a sponsor has a 10-minute video, that's not sponsoring responsibly, so that's not going to be something we're going to allow. But if they have some photos they want to show of something, obviously that's more consistent with our past practice. You all did a great job with questioning of witnesses during last year's session. I want you to ask the witnesses those tough questions and elicit good information, but just remember to respect everybody's time while we're doing it, because for us especially, our subcommittees usually meet after our hearings. We want to be able to get that work going. Our subcommittees will continue to meet virtually. Obviously, listen for the subcommittee announcements. I should say some of the subcommittee membership changed over the interim based on feedback from you all, so make sure you're aware of your new subcommittee assignments, and our subcommittee chairs will have to sort of coordinate to make sure they're able to hold their meetings at a time that don't cause conflicts for members of the subcommittee or members of the staff. Remember, for our subcommittee chairs, your meetings are hosted by your staff via Zoom, so if your staff needs any refresher or training on that, talk to Trish, because I know that can be a little bit different for some of the staff members. Voting, as usual, will be in person in this room as scheduled. We'll try to do most things by voice vote, but when we need to, we'll do roll call votes, just consistent with last year. I would say, we have the debate on the bill, the discussion on the bill. That's the time to make your points on the bill. And if we're going around doing a roll call, we can just register our votes at that time. I don't want to cut anybody's debate off on a bill. If you have something you want to say about a bill, let's definitely, give you the chance to say that and persuade people and make the points you need to, but during the roll calls, we can just proceed around with the roll call. I'll also just remind you to, pay attention during voting so we can try to avoid the need to revote or to change votes after. That can get, really cumbersome for the staff. I know it gets hectic. I know a lot happens, so of course we'll accommodate as best we can, but it's also incumbent on everybody in this room to pay attention to what's going on. We'll try to get the voting lists out as early as possible. Usually it's the day before. You all know how this works. This is a room full of veterans. The closer we get to crossover, the closer we get to the last day, the harder that can be. If you're looking to amend a bill, you should talk to the amendment office to get an amendment. I would also recommend giving a heads up to the subcommittee chair or the staff so that everybody just sort of knows, what's coming. But of course, if you want an amendment, you should go through the amendment office to do that. As always, I'll remind folks about the second reader rule. We do a lot of work in this committee. You get a lot of opportunity to weigh in on bills and have an influence on this committee, even if you don't actually support the bill. We've taken many amendments and suggestions from people who don't even vote for the bill. Finally, I'm not sure why we do that, but we do. And so keep that in mind when we get to that second reader debate on the floor and respecting the work product of all your colleagues in this room. Once again, I'll look to the subcommittee chairs to assign floor leaders on bills, but I hope anyone who wants the opportunity to do that gets that opportunity. We did that on a bipartisan basis last year, and we hopefully will be able to do that again. Just the expectation is if you are a floor leader on a bill, that you are ready to defend that bill and explain that bill, and don't take anything for granted because you never know who's going to hop up and ask a question. Delegate Naraki probably knows who's going to hop up and ask a question, but the rest of us don't know who's going to hop up and ask a question. So please, please be prepared when you're defending a bill, even if it's not your bill. As I said, subcommittees will be announced on the floor. They'll be announced in this room. The subcommittee chairs will work on that semi-regular schedule. Of course, we'll have our snack and beverage fund to keep everybody well-fed and well-hydrated. The voluntary contribution request from members is, again, $65 this year. And the voluntary contribution from any staff that's going to take advantage is, again, $25. Trish can take a variety of mechanisms for payment: Venmo, Zelle, cash, check. So just see her to find the pigeon, right? To find the best way to contribute to that fund if you want to participate. Obviously, as always, I have an open door, so feel free to come in and see me anytime, or reach out by text or phone call or carrier pigeon if there's anything you want to discuss or think we should be working on. But really excited to be doing this all for round two for me with you all. And with that, let me turn it over to the vice chair if she has any other comments or remarks.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. I want to say we do have the best committee in the House. I said it, and I mean it. I think we will vet the bills that come before this committee, and I'm hoping that we do it again. I do want to make a point about our ranking member on this, our Republican ranking member on this committee, which is Jay Jacobs. And I personally, sometimes when I don't know my way, dig in with him. And sometimes it's a no, and sometimes it's a yes. But we do have a working relationship until, of course, we don't, and we don't agree, but we do work together more often than not. I want to remind folks that, especially in subcommittee, you have your own rules. Make sure you establish them at the beginning of whether it's your organizational meeting or your first meeting, about decorum, what you expect, what you don't expect, how you want those who are watching or in the subcommittee to participate. There are your rules, and that is our vetting process. So I think a lot of voices within the subcommittee who want to weigh in is important, but just know that it is your responsibility to manage that. And my personal, Mr. Chair, belief, especially in subcommittee, if you have a bill in my subcommittee, you will not be defending your bill. I think this is a democratic process, and you want to trust your colleagues, then you want to trust the other persons to defend your bill. And so just so you know, and again, to the chair's point, if you're defending somebody's bill, it is your teammate, go hard. Go hard, know your stuff, because if the chair has to stand up, or if I have to stand up to quote unquote assist you, and again, assist is many different things, but you should know that bill inside and out, and as much as possible, not rely on counsel. Counsel is there to back you up if there's, something gets stuck on the floor, but you should know that bill inside and out. But we are here to work hard. We're here to have fun. and here to, whenever possible, sometimes beat up on the chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And, I like to make jokes, but seriously, I think this committee worked really well together on a bipartisan basis last year on an awful lot of bills, and appreciate everyone's contribution. Hope we can keep that good spirit going, however people ultimately vote on the final product. With that, are there any questions or comments for me or complaints for the Vice Chair? Okay. Yes, sir.
If I could,
Hold on. Let's make sure your mic gets put on. She'll put it on. Yep. There you go.
all right, now it's on. I just briefly wanted to, all right now, I just wanted to briefly mention a couple things about Jimmy Malone. But, my first term here, he was vice chair, and the days that we had transportation hearings, they'd last about an hour. I mean, like, if we had 15 or 20 bills, we'd start presenting a bill, and he'd go, "No one's got any questions here, do you?" And then we'd move on. I mean, it was like the shortest hearing day of the week was always transportation. Not necessarily so nowadays, but in those days, he had everything rolling along, and we always had a good time, and he was a good, really a good chair, and he always let you have your speech, so to speak, but he didn't fool around. I mean, they were the shortest hearing days that we ever had, but they were quite enjoyable. And I know they're fond memories of Jimmy Malone in this room, and I just wanted to say that on his behalf, and I was lucky to be here and have worked with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Jacobs. I have to say I'm a little jealous hearing about the lack of questions that they used to have in this committee. Any other questions or comments? Delegate Ciliberti?
What's the procedure, Mr. Chairman, for asking someone who's sitting too close to me to move to the other side of the room?
We'll talk about that offline. I will just say, if you want to be recognized, just a reminder, you press the button, your mic will start flashing, so I know you want to be recognized, and then when I call on you, the staff will make your mic go live. So just a reminder about that when we get into hearings and briefings. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well then we are going to start this session off right by turning to the new chair of the Transportation Subcommittee for this day in ENT history.
Good morning, colleagues. I think it's still the morning, barely, yeah. Good morning, everyone. On this day, approximately 11 years ago, one of our colleagues wrote an op-ed in the Baltimore Sun entitled, "Put People Ahead of Cars," where she implored then Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake and the City Council at the time to duly prioritize pedestrians and bicycle riders and transit riders, sometimes even if that means to make life slightly more uncomfortable for car commuters. So if everyone could put their hands together for our newest member of Environment and Transportation, Delegate Robin Lewis.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Stewart. Are there any subcommittee announcements today? Nope. Okay. Well, with that, looking forward to working with everybody for another 89 days, and we are adjourned. Thank you all so much.